He fed 2 orphan girls a warm meal. Rayon Ha lived on the edge of a small farming village on the planet Vedra 4. His home was old, made of wood and metal scraps, with smoke rising from a broken chimney. Life was not easy for him. His crops failed often, his tools were old, and storms damaged the fields again and again. But even with all of this, Rayon was a kind man. He did not have much, but whatever little he had, he shared. The night everything changed started with rain. Heavy rain. Loud thunder. Dark clouds covered the moon like a blanket. The wind pushed against the windows and made them shake. Rayon sat near his small stove, heating soup in a metal pot. He planned to sleep early, but something kept him awake, a strange feeling in his chest, like the universe was breathing near his door. Then it happened. Knock. Knock, knock. 3 sharp knocks. Not normal, not random, like someone was scared, but also desperate. Rayon stood up slowly. He picked up a lantern and walked to the door. The wind pushed it open before he could touch the handle. Outside, 2 small silhouettes stood under the rain. 2 little girls. They looked no older than 10. Thin, shaking, cold. Their clothes were torn, made of strange metallic fabric that looked like it once belonged to something advanced, something not from here. Their hair was wet, and mud covered their bare feet. But the strangest thing was their eyes, softly glowing, like stars trapped inside them. Ray and lowered the lantern. Are you okay? Who are you? The older one tried to speak, but her voice broke. We? No home, please? Rayon felt his heart hurt. He remembered when he was young and hungry, alone, looking for help. Without a second thought, he moved aside. Come in, he said. You are safe here. They entered slowly, scared like animals hiding from hunters. Rayon closed the door, gave them towels, and placed the warm soup on the table. The younger girl could not wait. She grabbed the bowl and started eating fast, tears falling down her face. The older one tried to stay polite, but her hunger defeated her manners, and she ate quickly too. What are your names? Rayon asked. The older girl whispered, Lyra. The younger one added softly, Nexa. They spoke with a strange accent, like they were learning the language for the first time. Rayon tried to ask more, where they came from, what happened, who their parents were, but they did not answer. They only looked at him with fear and confusion in their eyes. However, one thing was clear. These girls were not normal orphans. There was something unusual, something hidden, something big. Rayon gave them blankets and let them sleep near the stove, where it was warm. Before closing his eyes, he watched them. The younger girl, Nexa, held a broken piece of metal tightly, like it was the most important thing in the universe. It had strange symbols glowing faintly, symbols Rayon had never seen before. As he lay down, he heard Lyra whisper to her sister. The storm outside covered most of their words, but one line reached his ears. He helped us. He is not like the others. Maybe he is the one. Rayon sat up, confused. The one? What did that mean? Before sleeping, he spoke gently toward the audience of this story, like someone telling a tale beside a fire. If you are listening to this story and enjoying it, please support the journey. Subscribe gently so you don't miss what happens next. The real story is just beginning. He did not know how true those words were. Morning came with silence. The rain stopped. The storm clouds faded. Birds returned to the trees. Rayon stretched his arms and realized something was missing, the warmth near the stove. He looked. The girls were gone. The blankets were left behind. The bowls were empty. The door stood slightly open, like someone had left quietly to avoid waking him. Rayon rushed outside and looked around. No footprints, no sign of running, no sign of struggle. They vanished like ghosts. He returned inside, troubled and confused. But then he saw it. On the table where Lyra sat last night, there was something new. A metal shard, the same one Nexa held. But this time, the symbols on it were brighter. A soft blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. Rayan touched it, and a shock ran through his body. The shard responded to him, like it recognized him. A message appeared in glowing letters. 10 years. Remember kindness. Rayan dropped it, breathing fast. What did this mean? Why him? Where did those girls go? His hands shook. He looked outside again, but nothing answered. Only silence. But the universe had already changed Dot, and 10 years later, it would come back for him. Because this was not the end of the story. This was only the beginning. Somewhere in the stars, destiny was waiting Dot to be continued. 10 years later. The sky remembers him 10 years past, since the night Rain fed the 2 girls, Lyra and Nexa. Life continued, but something inside him never returned to normal. Sometimes at night, he still saw that metal shard glow softly, like a breathing star. He kept it locked in a wooden box, but even from a distance, he could feel it watching him. Waiting. Rayan's hair was now slightly gray. His hands were rough from years of work. He still lived alone on Vedra 4, still farming his dry fields, still repairing broken tools, living a quiet life. People respected him, but no one knew the full story of what happened that night. He never told them. He didn't want to sound like a man who believed in ghosts and aliens, but deep inside, he always wondered. Were they even human? Would they ever return? And what did remember kindness really mean? The day everything changed, it was early morning. The sun was just rising, painting the sky a soft golden color. Rayan was outside fixing a fence when suddenly the air shifted, heavy, electric, like the planet took a breath. The birds fell silent. The animals ran for shelter, Dot. And then the ground began to shake. A deep humming sound filled the valley, like a massive engine awakening after centuries of sleep. Rayan looked up, confused, and then froze. Dot. Something was breaking through the clouds. Dot. Not a storm. Thunder. Something mechanical. Something huge. Dot. A shadow-shaped, like a golden crown, descended from the sky. Light swallowed the clouds, and slowly a spaceship emerged, larger than any building, smoother than any technology humans had ever made. Its hull glowed with silver patterns that moved like rivers of light. Gold wings folded in like the petals of a flower. Even from a distance, it looked impossibly expensive, impossibly advanced, impossibly alien. A luxury royal starship. Villagers screamed and ran in fear. Some dropped to their knees, thinking it was the end. Others hid behind houses, praying. But Rayan did not move. He stood in the field, dust and wind blasting against him, cloak whipping behind him, eyes wide with shock. It was like the universe had returned to finish a sentence it started 10 years ago. The ship slowed, hovering only a few feet above the ground. Its engines went silent. A stairway of pure light formed, reaching down to Rayan's feet, like it was inviting only him. A voice echoed across the entire valley, calm but powerful, speaking in perfect English. Rayan Hale, step forward. The debt of kindness must be repaid. The villagers looked at him in terror. Rayan, what did you do? One man whispered. Who are they? Yelled another. Rayan didn't answer. Even he didn't know. His heart pounded as he stepped onto the light stair. It held his weight like solid metal. With every step, the world shrank behind him. The ship's entrance opened like a giant shining eye, and inside was a long corridor lined with floating lanterns of blue light. 2 armored guards stood silently, tall, elegant, wearing royal armor of silver and black. Their helmets had no eye holes, yet Rayan could feel them watching him. They bowed not to intimidate him, not to warn him, but to honor him. Welcome back, Guardian. One guard said "Ray" and shook his head. You must be mistaken. I'm just a farmer. The guard's voice was calm. Not to us. The return of Lyra and Nexa door slid open, and two figures stepped forward. Rayon's breath caught in his chest. Lyra and Nexa. But not the scared, starving girls he remembered. These were different. Lyra stood tall, wearing royal armor engraved with constellations. Her eyes glowed like a sunrise. She carried herself like a queen, powerful, confident, fearless. Nexa was beside her, now a skilled warrior, wearing sleek armor with electric patterns. She was still gentle, still quietly emotional, but stronger, sharper, like she had survived a world made of fire. They both smiled. Hello, Rayon, Lyra said. Nexa stepped closer. We kept our promise. We said we would return. Rayon's voice shook. I didn't save you to earn anything. I helped because you were children. Lyra nodded. That is exactly why you deserve everything. The W09 sheathed ship doors closed behind them as it lifted into the sky. Stars appeared above, even though it was still morning, like space itself had bent to watch. Lyra touched the metal shard in Rayon's hand. It reshaped, expanding like liquid metal, turning into a holographic map of the galaxy. You once saved 2 lives, she said. But now you may have to save millions. The map showed a red symbol spreading like a broken spider across star systems. A threat approaching. The Crimson Dominion, Nexa explained. A powerful empire with only one goal, to conquer or destroy anything weaker than them. And in their eyes, she looked at Rayon with sad honesty. Earth is weak. Rayon felt fear crawl under his skin. What do you want from me? Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady. Not your strength, not your power. We want your heart, the heart that fed 2 orphans when no one else would. Silence filled the ship. A thin tear rolled down Nexa's cheek. You gave us warmth, she whispered. Now let us give you the stars. The ship surged forward, entering the atmosphere, leaving Vedra 4 behind as a trail of light followed. Rayon held the shard tight. His old life was gone, his new destiny had arrived, to be continued. The hidden bloodline of the stars, the royal starship moved through space like a silent arrow cutting across darkness. Rayon stood near a wide glass window, staring at planets drifting below like colorful marbles. He felt small, like a farmer lost in a dream that wasn't meant for him. His hands trembled slightly as he held the metal shard now glowing like a living heart behind him. Lyra and Nexa approached. They did not speak at first. They simply stood with him, watching the galaxy stretch into infinity. For a moment, there was peace. Then Lyra finally broke the silence. You deserve answers. Her voice was calm, but there was weight inside it, like she was carrying 10 years of secrets. The truth. Giant's Lyra led him through a tall metal door. It opened into a chamber with walls of floating screens and star maps. At the center stood a golden throne, not for decoration, but for command. Nexa placed her hand on a crystal panel. The chamber came alive, projecting a giant hologram. A beautiful empire once ruled the stars, the Astrion Kingdom. Worlds glowed like jewels in a crown. Ships moved like flocks of silver birds. It looks peaceful, Rayon said. Lyra lowered her eyes. It was, before the Dominion came. On the hologram, a dark force spread like burning ash. Warships of the Crimson Dominion attacked planets, leaving fire behind. Kingdoms fell, cities turned to dust, and the Astrion royal family was hunted. Nexa spoke softly, voice trembling. We were the last bloodline. Children, not ready to rule. They came for us in the night. They killed everyone who stood in their way. Our guardians smuggled us out in escape pods. The hologram showed a ship crashing on a small farming world -VEDR A-4.RAY, and single quotes his heart stopped. That was the night I found you. Lyra nodded. Yes, you saved us. You gave us food when we had nothing. Warmth when the universe was cold. That act changed destiny. She stepped closer to him. You didn't just help 2 orphans. You helped the last princesses of Astrion. Rayan stumbled back, shocked. Princesses? That can't be. I'm just a farmer, a nobody. Nexa shook her head. Not to us, not to fate. The shard's real PRC Lyra pointed at the shard in his hand. That is a royal access key. It responds only to a heart it judges as worthy. When you offered us kindness, it chose you. Rayan looked at the shard confused, afraid, but drawn to it. If I'm chosen. Chosen for what? Lyra hesitated. To stand with us. To stop the Dominion from reaching Earth. Their scouts are already close. If they find your world unprepared, humanity will fall. And the first place they will come for is Vedra 4. Suddenly the chamber lights changed. Red alarms glowed. Nexa's face turned pale. We've been tracked. Dominion ships approaching fast. The hologram shifted, 2 dark ships closing in like predators smelling blood. Rayan stepped back. I can't fight. I don't even know your weapons. I don't know your world. I can't save anything. Lyra grabbed his shoulder, firm but human. We do not need your strength. We need your courage. Empires are not built on weapons. They are built on hearts like yours. The first TC sirens echoed. The ship shook violently. Dominion warships fired plasma beams that scraped across the hull like claws. Guards rushed through the hallways, shields failing. Someone shouted. A guard placed a small wrist device on Rayan's arm. It attached like it was part of him. This will protect you, the guard said. Stay close to the princesses. Do not let them fall. Nexa drew her weapon a blade of blue plasma. She looked at Rayan, eyes burning with determination. Do you trust us? Rayan inhaled. His old life flashed in his mind-broken fences, dried crops, quiet mornings. Then he saw 2 starving girls by a stove, and the moment his heart changed. Yes, he whispered, I trust you. Lyra smiled. Then destiny begins now. The portal ROA'd, they ran to a circular room at the heart of the ship. In the center stood a gate, a rotating ring of starlight, swirling like a storm of galaxies. Nexa activated controls. This is a warp crest. It can send a message across the galaxy. We need to warn our allies. But someone must hold off the Dominion long enough for the signal to complete. Rayan froze. Who? Lyra looked at him with steady eyes. You. The word hit him harder than any weapon. I'm not a warrior. Lyra shook her head. Warriors fight because they must. Heroes fight because they care. The ship trembled. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The Dominion was almost through the shields. Rayan looked at the portal, at the blade in Nexa's hands, at the shard glowing like a heartbeat, waiting for him to accept it. I'm scared, he admitted. Nexa nodded. So are we. But fear means you understand the cost. Rayan closed his eyes and stepped forward. The shard fused with his wrist device, transforming into armor lightweight, flexible, shaped like starlight and iron. He felt something new in his chest. Not power, not confidence. Purpose. Lyra raised her blade. Nexa took position beside him. Rayan stepped to the front. Open the doors. He said. The princesses exchanged a look, half fear, half belief. The doors opened. Dominion soldiers stood waiting. Rayan tightened his fists, heart pounding like thunder. The farmer stepped forward. The galaxy held its breath. To be continued. A farmer learning to stand like a guardian. The royal starship flew deeper into space, escaping the Dominion's first attack. Smoke drifted through the hallways. Sparks flickered from damaged circuits. And guards carried wounded soldiers past Rayon as alarms echoed in the background. He had never seen so much fear in the eyes of trained warriors. For the first time, he understood. This was not just a journey. This was a war, and he was now part of it. Lyra led Rayon through a corridor of glowing walls until they reached a huge chamber. The doors opened with a deep mechanical hiss-dot. It was a training hall, large enough to fit aircraft inside. Floating targets glided in the air. Metal dummies moved like real fighters. Weapons lined the walls, but none looked like guns. They were elegant, strange, and alive, as if made from light and bone. Nexa stepped forward holding a weapon that hummed like a heartbeat, a curved blade of blue energy. "This is a starblade," she said, "made of plasma wrapped around living technology. It responds to spirit, not strength. If your heart is weak, it dies. If your will is strong, it becomes unstoppable." Rayon hesitated. "What if it doesn't choose me?" Lyra looked at him. "It already has. The shard chose you. The ship accepted you. The gate responded to you. This is not chance. This is prophecy." Rayon swallowed, and Nexa handed him the blade. It felt warm, like it recognized him. A pulse ran up his arm, and for a moment he saw flashes. Battlefields, starships, burning cities, a throne shattered by war. His knees weakened. What was that? He gasped. "Memory," Lyra answered. "The blade remembers what it has seen. Now those memories are yours." Training Begins Nexa stood opposite him, her own blade glowing brighter. "Strike at me?" Rayon panicked. "What? No, I'll hurt you." Nexa smiled. "If you can hurt me, I will be proud." He rushed forward awkwardly. The blade hummed, but his movements were slow. Nexa dodged easily, stepping across the floor with dancer-like grace, then tapped his shoulder with her blade. It stung like fire. "Again," she demanded. Rayon attacked. She moved. He missed. She tapped him again. It became a pattern. He struck. She dodged. He stumbled. She corrected. Him. Over and over. Attack. Fail. Repeat. Minutes turned into hours. Sweat rolled down his face. His arms burned. His legs trembled. But something changed, slowly, almost invisibly. His strikes became cleaner. His stance straightened. His fear began to melt. Lyra watched silently, arms folded, eyes thoughtful. She leaned toward a guard. "He learns faster than expected," the guard nodded. "He is not trained, but he listens. That is rare." Rayon tried a new strike, twisting his wrist the way Nexa showed him. The blade sang through the air like wind through a canyon. Nexa stepped back, surprised. "Good," she whispered. "Do it again." The tease do without warning. The chamber lights turned red. A hologram flickered into existence. An angry Dominion soldier with armor like obsidian. Its eyes glowed like dying stars. It moved forward and struck. Not a real enemy, but a training simulation. Still deadly. Rayon froze. Nexa shouted, "Defend!" The hologram slashed. Rayon raised his blade. Sparks exploded. The shock drove him backward, but he did not fall. Again, Nexa yelled. The hologram attacked a second time, faster. Rayon barely blocked it. His arms shook. His heart pounded. Fear clawed at him like an animal. "I can't do this." He gasped. Lyra stepped forward, voice like calm fire. "You are not fighting to win. You are fighting to survive." And humans, her eyes narrowed, glowing with power. Humans survive better than any species in the galaxy. Show the blade why you deserve it. The hologram lunged with killing force. Rayon shouted from somewhere deep inside, "I won't let you hurt them." The shard on his wrist flared. Blinding silver light rushed across his body. The blade extended into a full arc of plasma. He struck. The hologram shattered into a million sparks. Silence filled the chamber. Rayan stood shaking, chest heaving, blade glowing like a piece of heaven stolen from a star. Nexa stared at him with wide eyes. "Lyra, did you see that?" Lyra nodded slowly. "He did not fight for glory. He fought to protect. That is why he is chosen." The ship's SEC Arit after training, Lyra guided Rayan to another chamber. This one was darker, colder. A tall pod stood in the center, like a coffin of glass and steel. Black cables crawled across the floor. "What is this place?" Rayan asked. Lyra placed her hand on the pod. "This is the reason we survived 10 years. This is what the Dominion wants." She looked at him. "And this is the key to saving your world." The pod opened. Inside floated a glowing core, a star in a cage, swirling with power. "This," Lyra whispered, "is a stellar heart. With it, a world can rise. Without it, a world can die." Rayan stared at the core, his reflection rippling in the glass. "And what do you want from me?" he asked. Lyra answered slowly, carefully. "We want you to protect it. Because if the Dominion gets this, Earth will be the first world they burn." Rayan's hand shook as he reached toward the core. He saw his reflection, not a farmer anymore, not a nobody, but a man standing at the edge of destiny. Behind him. The floor trembled. An alarm sounded. A voice crackled through the speakers. "Dominion fleet detected. They found us." Lyra's face turned pale. "It's too soon. We're not ready." Rayan stepped back from the core, blade in hand. His fear was still there, but something else now stood beside it. Courage. He looked at the princesses. Then, "We get ready." The lights went dark. The ship shook like thunder. Approached. The first battle, a farmer stands. Against the stars alarmed screamed across the royal starship. Red lights flashed like heartbeat signals of a dying world. Guards rushed to defensive stations, steel helmets locking into place, weapons activating with shivering energy. The ship trembled as enemy fire struck the shields again and again. Rayan stood in the middle of the hallway, gripping his star blade so tightly his knuckles turned white. His heart raced like a drum inside his chest. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't trained for war. He was a man who used to wake up to feed chickens, fix fences, and watch distant sunsets. Now he faced the strongest army in the galaxy. Lyra appeared beside him, her armor shining like a piece of the dawn sky. Nexa loaded a wrist launcher that looked like a weapon made of starlight and bone. Lyra spoke firmly, forcing calm into her voice. "Rayan, listen. The Dominion is not attacking to kill us. They're attacking to board the ship. They want the stellar heart." Rayan remembered that glowing core, the star in a cage. The thing they said could save a world, or destroy it. So if they reach it, he said quietly, Earth is finished. Nexa looked him in the eyes. "Not just Earth, hundreds of worlds. Even our home planets that still fight. Everything." The ship shook harder, metal groaning. Somewhere deeper inside, something exploded. Boarding hooks. A guard shouted. "They're latching on." Lyra turned to Rayan. "Stay close to us. Your fear is allowed, but do not let it speak louder than your courage." Rayan nodded. "I'll try." "Don't try," Nexa whispered. "Decide." The Bordinga violet hiss cut through the hallway. Metal claws tore through the ship's hull like knives through cloth. A circular door melted, dripping red-hot metal onto the floor. Then it happened. The boarders arrived. Dominion soldiers marched through the opening, tall, armored, with helmets like skulls and plasma rifles burning with red fire. They spread out like shadows, surrounding everything in sight. Their leader stepped forward, a towering figure in dark purple armor, a cape of black smoke trailing behind him. His voice echoed like thunder trapped inside metal. "I am General Varkin. Hand over the stellar heart, and your deaths will be quick." Lyra stepped in front of Rayan. "You will not touch it." Varkin tilted his head. "Princess Lyra, the last candle of a dying kingdom." He raised his blade. "I will enjoy extinguishing you." Nexa moved first. She hurled a star spear of blue energy. Varkin blocked it with one hand, sparks exploding like fireworks. He was fast. Too fast. Rayan's instincts screamed at him to run, to hide, to survive. But he didn't. He stepped forward. "I'm not giving you anything." General Varkin stared at him. "And who are you, human?" Rayan didn't know if his voice came from fear or fate. "I'm the man who fed your future nightmares." The hallway went silent for one heartbeat. Then the battle began. The 5G Dominion soldiers charged. Plasma shots flew like red lightning. Lyra deflected them with her blade, each movement a perfect arc of blue-white light. Nexa slid across the floor, kicking 2 soldiers down, then stabbed upward with a glowing dagger. Rayan faced one soldier. His hands trembled. His blade felt too heavy. The soldier swung. Rayan blocked. Sparks burst like stars. His arm shook, but he didn't fall. Another strike came. Rayan dodged, barely. The star blade hummed, reacting to his heartbeat. Dot thump, dot thump, dot thump. Dot fear, dot courage, dot fearge, a dust forward. His strike wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean. But it was real, honest, full of heart. The Dominion soldier fell. Rayan stared at his blade, shocked. "I did it." "Do not celebrate," Lyra shouted. "More are coming." And they came in waves. Like a storm of armor and fire, Rayan fought beside them, clumsy but determined. Where Nexa was fast like lightning, Rayan was stubborn like stone. Where Lyra was elegant, Rayan was raw instinct. But he did not retreat. Not once. General Varkin marched forward, ignoring the battle around him. His blade ignited, a long crimson weapon crackling with dark energy. "You are all delaying the inevitable," he growled. "Surrender the stellar heart." Lyra stepped to block him again, but Varkin didn't swing at her. He swung at Raya. The blow hit like a solar storm. Rayan flew back, crashing into the wall. His armor absorbed the hit, but barely. Pain shot up his spine. His vision blurred. He tried to stand, fell, tried again. Varkin approached slowly. "You are not a warrior. You are a mistake." Rayan's hands shook as he forced himself upright. "Maybe, but I'm a mistake that still chooses to stand." His armor flickered. The shard glowed. And suddenly, a pulse of energy spread across him, like the armor itself was waking up for the first time. Varkin hesitated. "What is that?" Lyra's eyes widened. "The shard is synchronizing. It's unlocking." A symbol appeared on Rayan's chest, a burning emblem of starlight, shaped like a broken crown. Nexa gasped. "That's the mark of a guardian." Rayan didn't understand what it meant. He didn't need to. He raised his blade. "Come on, then." The cliffhanger Vark swung. Rayan blocked. Shockwaves tore through the hallway. The ship couldn't take it. Walls cracked. Systems sparked. Alarm screamed. A voice echoed through the speakers. "Critical damage." Gravity field collapsing. Suddenly the floor disappeared. Everyone fell, pulled into darkness, into the heart of the ship. Rayan reached for Lyra's. Hand missed. Nexa screamed his name. Echoing into the void. Then nothing, just darkness. Jared sat inside the luxury spaceship's command chamber, the engines humming like a heartbeat under the metal floor. The girls, now young women, Aya and Lena, stood beside him. Their faces were calm, but their eyes carried storms of fear and memories. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Jared finally asked, his voice quiet but heavy, "What really happened to you? And why did you come back for me?" Aya looked at Lena, then back to Jared. There was sadness in her eyes. "We wanted to tell you everything. But there is danger outside. The past is coming for us. And for you." Jared felt a chill crawl across his skin. Danger? From who? Lena took a deep breath and walked forward. The holographic screen lit up again, showing strange alien symbols and coordinates. "Do you remember the night we disappeared? 10 years ago. After that warm meal you gave us?" "Yes," Jared whispered. "I remember. It was raining. You both were scared. Someone was looking for you. 2 men in dark coats." Aya nodded. Those men were not human. Jared's heartbeat stopped for a second. Not human? Aya pressed a button, and suddenly a memory hologram played like a movie. It showed a small escape pod in a dark alley. Tiny versions of Aya and Lina, just children running, hiding, crying. A large shadow moved behind them. A creature, tall and armored, glowing eyes, searching. The creature spoke with a broken, mechanical voice. "Bring back the royal blood." Jared blinked slowly. "Royal blood?" Lena faced him with tears in her eyes. "We are not normal humans. Jared, we are heirs, princesses, the last daughters of a fallen alien empire called Aurelian Prime." The words felt like thunder inside Jared's mind. 10 years ago, he thought he just fed 2 hungry children. He never imagined they were alien royalty. Oya continued. "Our kingdom was destroyed. Our parents were killed. We escaped to Earth. You gave us kindness that day. When no one else did, you were the only one who protected us." Jared looked down at his hands. He never thought a small act of kindness could change fate, but it did. Then Lena added, "We grew up under protection, trained in hidden bases, waiting for the day we could return. 10 years later, we came back for you, because you are part of the prophecy." Jared raised his head. "Prophecy?" Aya stepped closer and spoke slowly. "The prophecy says, the empire will rise again, guided by the heart of a human who chooses kindness over power." Jared stared at them, breathing hard. "I'm just a normal man. I'm nobody." Lena shook her head gently. "You were nobody until the day you fed a royal heir and changed the future." A warning appears suddenly. Red alarms flashed across the ship. The screen turned blood red. "Incoming transmission unknown Sorcia." Deep, monstrous voice echoed through the speakers. "Aya of Aurelian. Lena of Aurelian. Surrender. The empire will not rise. The hunt ends tonight." It was the same voice from the hologram. The hunter from the past. Jared stepped forward. "What does he want?" Aya's voice trembled. "He is called General Varkos, the one who destroyed our kingdom, the one who hunts us. If he finds us, he will kill you first." Outside the ship, the clouds cracked open. A huge warship appeared in the sky, black like a demon, lightning crawling around it. The ground shook. Windows shattered. Dogs barked. People screamed. The hunter had arrived. Jared must choose. The girls looked at Jared. Their eyes were full of trust and fear. Aya said, "We will fight. But we cannot do it alone. Our empire needs a heart, someone who believes in us." Lena reached out her hand. "Jared, if you stay behind, you will die. If you come with us, everything will change." Jared stared at the door of the spaceship. Behind it was his old life simple, broken, quiet. Inside the ship was something else. Danger, destiny, truth. The engines roared, waiting for his decision. One step forward could change the universe. Jared took a breath and spoke, "Open the gates." "I'm coming with you." The girls smiled, relieved. Aya whispered, "Then our story truly begins now." The ship lifted into the sky as the enemy warship prepared to fire. The sky burned red as the enemy warship unleashed another blast. The luxury spaceship shook like a leaf in a storm. Inside, alarms screamed and panels sparked. Jared grabbed the seat in front of him, trying to keep balance. Aya gasped, "Shields are breaking. We can't take another hit." Lena was typing fast on the control panel. Her voice trembled, but she was focused. "We need to jump to hyperspace, but the generator is locked. Someone has to activate it from the engine room." Jared looked between them, feeling fear claw at his chest. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't a hero. He was just a simple man who once fed 2 hungry children. But now he knew something important. Kindness made him stronger than fear. Jared nodded. "Tell me what to do." "I'll go." Aya's eyes widened. "But if you stay in the engine room during the jump, you might not survive." Jared forced a small smile. "I survived 10 years alone. I'll survive this too." Without waiting, he ran toward the door and down the stairs. The ship shook again as another blast hit. Sparks exploded from the ceiling. The emergency lights turned everything red. The engine room. The engine room was massive glowing blue crystals, spinning rings of energy, wires like metal veins. At the center was the hyperspace core, a giant sphere of light. A robotic voice echoed, "Warning, overload in 60 seconds." Jared reached the control panel. His hands shook. He didn't understand alien technology, but Lena's voice came through the radio. "Jared, listen carefully. There is a lever beside the core. Pull it and hold. Even when it gets hot. Even if it burns. Hold it." He took a breath. "I'm ready." Aya's voice followed, soft and emotional. "You saved us once with bread and kindness. Now you are saving us again. With courage." Jared gripped the lever. At first, nothing happened. Then the ship began to glow. The core grew brighter, hotter. The metal burned his hand, pain shooting up his arm. He wanted to let go, but a memory appeared in his mind. 2 little girls in the rain, shivering and afraid. His voice from years ago. "You're safe now, eat." He held the lever harder. A final stand-up in the command chamber. Aya and Lena watched the enemy ship getting closer. General Varco's voice boomed again. "Surrender the heirs? The human is meaningless." Lena stared at the screen. "No, he is not meaningless. He is the reason we are alive." Aya lifted her chin. "He is the reason we believe we can return home." The enemy ship charged a final blast. Jared screamed through the pain. "Do IT. Take the jump." Lena slammed her hand down. "Hyperspace engage." Light everything exploded into white light. Jared felt the ship stretch, like reality was being folded. His hand blistered, his vision blurred, but he didn't let go. Not for 1 second. The warship vanished behind them as the stars turned into long white lines. The ship jumped far, far away. Silence. When the light faded, Aya and Lena rushed down to the engine room. The door opened with a hiss. Smoke floated out. Jared was on his knees, breathing hard, hand burned, but alive. Aya fell beside him and held him. "You held on. You saved us." Lena knelt on his other side. "You saved our future." Jared coughed, trying to smile. "I just did what anyone would do." Aya shook her head. "No, not everyone. Only you." A new beginning from the window of the ship. A planet appeared. Gold clouds, silver oceans, and giant ring-like structures floating around it. Lena whispered, "Aurelian Prime. Our home." The lost empire. The girls looked at Jared. You brought us home. Not as a servant. Not as a guard. But as family. His burned hand trembled, but his voice was steady. I didn't save a kingdom. I saved 2 little girls. The rest just followed. Aya smiled with tears. Then come with us. Stay with us. Be part of what comes next. Jared looked at the shining planet. He had no home before. No purpose. No destiny. But now he had all 3. Yes, he said quietly. I'll stay.